Energetic, passionate individual who's excited to be an instrument of change with respect to mental illness and breaking down stigma. So a few facts that Esther wanted me to just share with you before she comes up and does her talk. This area, Markham Stouffville, it has a lot of ties for Esther because she's homegrown. She was born and raised here in Stouffville until the age of 18 when she went to the USA. Esther holds degrees in sociology and psychology. She's had a diverse career, including experience in the restaurant industry. She's also had experience with Texas Rangers baseball team and also with the Dallas Stars hockey team. So she's done a lot of different and interesting things. She's back now in Canada since 1996, and she's living with her mother, whom I believe is here with her today. And Esther is also, just so that you know, she's featured in an upcoming article with our Markham Stouffville Hospital Foundation magazine, and that's going to be circulated November 25th in the Toronto Star, so please do look for that. And on that note, I would like to introduce Esther Herbert.
Well, thank you very much for those very kind words. My mom is independent, by the way. She lives alone, but we are very close. We both live in Stouffville. I'm sure she'd want you to know that she's independent. She's 92. Very proud to have her in the audience. So good morning. Hi. What a privilege it is to be here today. I want to thank Markham Stouffville Hospital, the organizing committee. You're phenomenal. Especially, I want to thank Dr. Mark Berber. He's my doctor, and he has given me, with a lot of conversation and so forth over the last few years, this opportunity to speak to you today, and I am very thrilled. My name, as you gathered there, thanks to the introduction, is Esther Herbert. And my goal today is to speak slowly and distinctly. I'm a very fast talker in my world. My friends that are here today, they know that. So what I want to do, because my mother is a retired English teacher, and anytime we had poetry and we had scripture verses or we had to deliver a speech, we'd be up on the mantle and she would coach us and say, now, I need you to speak slowly and distinctly. So that is my goal. You can let me know later how I did, but that's what I'm going to try to do. What you're about to hear today is a real story. It's a true story, and it's my story. And I am delighted to be here to share it with you. I am a patient of Dr. Mark Berber. For the past 17 years, I have met with him to discuss my case and go over some therapy and be with him every 6 months. And I have certainly been faithful to that. And I am very, very glad that I have the relationship with him that I do. I want to share with you a little bit of who I am to get started and how I am perceived out in the world. I have been told over and over again, oh my, Esther, you're always so happy. You're always so positive and upbeat. You know, those sayings I got annoyed with. I thought to myself, who on the planet can always be happy? Always upbeat, always cheerful. I thought, how inane. So I discussed it with my best friend, and she said, you know, that's what you put out. That's how you're perceived. That's how people see you. So you should really take that as a compliment. So that is what I've tried to do. I mistook those compliments because I thought, do they not understand that I have struggles, that I have trials and tribulations that I go through? Every human being on the planet does. So what I really want to share with you today is a story that happened April 7, 2000. It's that day, and it's the week before that is most important to share with you. It was a very strange week at work. Yes, it was very strange. So I went into work, and for some reason, I decided that the bathrooms needed cleaning. So I would go in there intermittently throughout the day, and I would start cleaning the panels, the walls, the counters, the cupboards, you know, and I would do that on a daily basis. Now, if anyone came in, I would stop. And I thought to myself, you know, on some level, I guess, in retrospect, there was something odd and strange about it. But that continued from a Monday all the way through to the Friday, which was April 7th. Now on that day, I walked a short way down the hall from my work, and I went into my boss's office. And her name is Kathy. I'll be referring to her in this. I sat at her desk. She wasn't there. I locked the door. I put my feet up. I thought, okay, I'm boss for the day. Come on. You know, I thought this is great. I don't know where she is. I don't care where she is. I'm just doing this. So people started calling and pounding on the door and what's going on. And I just kept doing what I was doing, you know, with no real recollection of that day. Only what people would tell me about it, and only what I pieced together through therapy and just your memory coming back. But I would continue to be in there pounding at the door, and what happened is Kathy's keys were in her purse in the office that was locked in. The maintenance man just so happened to be out that day. He couldn't get in. So the people at my work didn't know what on earth to do. They knew some crisis was happening, and they had no clue. But what they decided to do is something so human and kind and compassionate that I'll never forget. They took 165 people and moved them all to the warehouse and got them out of the way, out of the viewing. When the police were called, came, broke into the office, handcuffed me, led me out a very long hall. There was no one to be seen but just a handful of people. Now that is kind. So I was led out to an ambulance that was waiting to take me here to Markham Stouffville Hospital. In that ambulance, I thought, wow, we're off to the airport. I'm going on a Learjet. I'm off to meet the Queen, you know, and I really believed that. And I thought, this is what's happening. It was irrelevant to me that I was handcuffed. Didn't think about that, nothing. There was a nurse a couple of days later that came up to me and she said, you know, Esther, when you came in, you were so high. We gave you so many sedatives. She said, I have never in my entire nursing career of 20 years given someone so many sedatives as I did to you. I was displaying a lot of mania. I met Dr. Mark Berber at that time. Of course, I don't remember that in that evening. But subsequently, I was admitted for 2 weeks here at this hospital. I had 4 weeks outpatient at a program called Bridges, which I believe is still inactive here. And I had many visitors. I had very kind people, friends that came to visit. But the thing I remember the most is my sister, Rebecca. I'll call her Beck in this. Beck came every single day to the hospital to visit with me, to bring me whatever I needed from my home. Beck had a lot of problems of her own. So for her to get up, make up, drive her car, and come and visit me, it meant the world. And I'll never forget that. You know, as it's been touched on today, finding a right dosage for what you have will take many tries and many combinations and a lot of work and a lot of teamwork between my doctor and myself. That's not just going to happen overnight. We found lithium to work best for me, and I have been on it faithfully for 17 years. Trust me when I say it's daunting to need people. Isn't it? It's very difficult to reach out, and I think the most daunting is when it's at the workplace. So what I have found over the years is that the stigma is the highest there, and so I was determined to go back to the place I was handcuffed, back to the place I was let out, and I wanted to return to work to show myself and others that I am a competent person getting help. So 6 weeks later, I returned to that parking lot, just about to get out of the car, and who would be beside my door but Kathy, that same boss. She said, I'm here to walk you in, girl. And I said, wow. Now that's supportive. That's amazing. The new normal for me is studying about bipolar. You know, it is so important for me to know what's going on because I was one of the people we've talked about today, misdiagnosed over and over and over again. I would exhibit depression. I would be given antidepressants. And in many cases, that makes your bipolar worse. And it just went on and on. If you think about it, Dr. Berber and I discussed that I had this since I was 15 years old, and I was properly diagnosed at 37. That's 22 years that were lost. Well, not completely lost, you know, they are redeemed, but I will say that that's an awfully long time to go not knowing what you have, what you need, and the help that's available out there. So I love the diagnosis getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So that's wonderful. What happened for me is I met the right doctor at the right time, and I was exhibiting the right symptoms. And having that correct diagnosis, it was such a weight, such a lifting weight off my shoulders, such a joy. And I thank the doctor to this day for that. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. At an early age, I was a heavy drinker. And since my mother is here, I certainly won't tell you how young I was when I started drinking. But let me tell you, it was heavy and it was often, and I did it for many, many, many years. I would take late night walks with a Walkman, that ages me, but a Walkman over my ears, and I would have the music blaring 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There I was, and I was just walking just for the fun of it. I would drive my car so fast. I would shut off lights going through stop signs for the thrill. I would steal things just for the thrill and hoping I wouldn't get caught, but it didn't matter. I just wanted the adrenaline pump. So I would do all of that, not knowing the whole time that I had a disease that exhibited these symptoms. Just amazing. As I have discussed with my doctor that I am mainly manic, but I do want you to know something. I have had bouts of depression that have been absolutely destroying, but they did not kill me, and I'm here today, and I'm thankful. But I want you to know that depression has certainly been a big part of my life as well. Since April 7, 2000 was so dramatic, I have a marker in my head that break with reality will never happen again, and so I have an unwavering devotion to my medication. And I think you'll understand why. I am a sober alcoholic since May 11, 92. Thank you. Thanks. Since May 11, 92, that was the last drink I had. So this year I celebrated the 25th anniversary. It was a big deal at work. People were wonderful. I thought to myself, I can't mix alcohol with my medication. That is me, Esther Herbert speaking. So I am so glad that I am sober and have been for such a long time. It certainly aids in my recovery. I do exercise. I do swim and walk every week. I eat right. Well, I certainly try to eat right. I try to rest. My best friend says I don't get enough rest, but for me, I get enough rest. And I reduce stress at every turn. I really want you to know that God has been by my side every single step of the way. Without His grace, I would be lost. In 2003, I took a position at Brady. It's a safety company. And in 2004, I approached my then boss, Anna, told her that I had bipolar. She happened to have a very good friend that also had bipolar. And Anna was warm, receptive, and very kind. And then we moved forward, long time between telling people, but 2015, I told my current boss, Chantel, that I have bipolar, and she was supportive and kind as well. So for a moment now, I'd like to return to my sister, Beck. She was the one that was faithful to visit me. She too had bipolar. She had an accident in 1991. She was hit by a train, and she was on subsequent pain medication for her many surgeries. She would not follow directions from her doctors. She decided that she would self-medicate. In 2013, she was found by her apartment manager. She had an accidental overdose, and she died. Now, if you think about this, you have two sisters. One with bipolar and would not do as she was instructed. She mixed her medication. She did it her way. She did not want help. And the consequences are very sad. And she's not with us. You have the other sister, who happens to be me, who has followed the rules, the regulations, the instructions, done the therapy, went to visit the doctor. I've done all that I can. And I'm here today to tell you that bipolar is manageable. So that story is something that's near and dear to my heart, but certainly, I hope, will make people think about what they do with their lives. If I say anything to you today, I would say, and I'll show you on my card here, stick with the program. For me, it's not drinking. For me, it's faithful to taking my medication. For me, it's getting to see Dr. Berber twice a year. For me, it's doing my blood work. And for me, it's reading everything I can get my hands on about bipolar. I have indeed reached out to family and friends, bosses as well. Is that hard to do? Yes, it's very hard to do. But you can do it, and you need to stay committed. It is a very hard road, but it is worth it. Okay, I want to let you know I do manage my disease. I am in charge of my own recovery. No one can do it for me, no matter how much they love me or care about me. I have to do it myself. And I'll say it again, it is manageable. I've held my position at Brady, I love my company here, for 14 years almost, coming December. I want you to know I don't warm the seat. I do more than that. I mentor, I train, I provide exceptional customer service, I win awards, I've entered a big ideas contest, and I can encourage my coworkers every day. So it is something that we can do. I want to close by challenging each one of you this. We put the onus on the person that is probably the weakest, most depressed, most downtrodden, to reach out for help. You know, in cases like that, they can't lift a finger, let alone give a voice to they need help. So I want to say to you today, be the person someone can confide in. Be the one who is approachable and kind. Be the one to listen to someone who's desperately trying to be heard. Be that person in your home, in your work, in your friendships. If you are willing to do that, I believe you and I together, we can change our world. I believe it, don't you? Know that the road to wellness has bumps, detours, but I have a very fulfilled and beautiful life, and I am grateful for it all. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening. It's the biggest gift you can give anyone, by the way, is to listen to them. So thank you for this. It's been an awesome opportunity. Thank you.